heavens open once again.
With an early look at Rassie Erasmus's team, the All Blacks can be sure about what they're walking into.
Injuries to hooker Cody Taylor and wing Imoni Narawa, both expected to be out for next weekend.
I think keep bringing the pressure. As a player, you thrive on that and it makes you want to do better. It's what the people of this nation deserve.
If you ever had any doubt about why they call this the greatest rivalry,
Johnny Barrett still going. Israel Dack. Inside. Imoni Narawa. First try for the All Blacks. What a superb try. It's magic.
Yes, what a test match. The greatest rivalry is alive and well. Kia ora e te whānau. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sky Sport on your Thursday evening. I've got Angus Ta'avao and Jeff Wilson alongside me, and we are very excited to be with you here tonight as we get ready for the second test match. A big welcome to our Supersport viewers. In fact, we've got some friends from Supersport joining us later on in the show. We've got Matt Pearce and Hinyani Shamangi. Shimmy, nice to see you boys in the pub, but not drinking so far. So well done. Good on you. We will come back to them very shortly. But I think first things first, we know everything Eden Park meant, defending 50 tests in a row. It is still intact. The fortress is still our fortress. Jeff Wilson, I feel like we're a little calmer this week. Although there are trophies on the line coming up, things feel a little calmer. Do they not?
Well, this is just as important this week as it was last week. And for the All Blacks, they would have moved on very quickly, knowing the fact now they've given themselves the opportunity to win the Freedom Cup, to take control of the Rugby Championship and not only defend what we've created here in New Zealand, but get some consistency, Gus, into our game. Back-to-back performances are what the All Blacks are all about. If you're the number one team in the world, that's what you're able to do.
Well, I mean, talking to pundits out there, there wasn't much confidence that the ABs would come away with this win. And speaking about stress, I'm actually a lot lower stress. I was struggling to watch the game, Laura. We were on a 4.5-hour bus trip from Christchurch to Blenheim. So 5G along that beautiful coastline is not great. So I had to watch a few replays. But my stress levels are great. Auckland got their first win. All Blacks kept the streak alive. People are smiling.
Canterbury have the shield. We're all good here.
Oh, no, hold on.
Good here. Hang on. Jeff Wilson, there was a lot of talk pre-game about people wanting a good old-fashioned traditional test match. And at the end of that, I felt everyone, especially the All Blacks fans, really felt as though we got that.
The question is, did we see the best of the Springboks? And I don't think we did. They made a lot of errors that were unforced errors, but also we saw an All Black team put them under pressure and they didn't respond until the last 20 minutes. But there were signs, and particularly the way that the Springboks continue to finish games, they're so dangerous. So right now, we're in the situation of the fact that, are we going to take another step forward, as in the All Blacks? Are we going to be better this week than we were last weekend? And the Springboks, what they've done, they've changed their side. They've made things very different coming into this test match. How will the All Blacks respond?
Well, how have the All Blacks responded with their team list? Let's have a look at it. Jeff Wilson.
Let's have a look at the team. They have to make some injury-enforced changes, one of those being at hooker. So Samasoni Tokiaho comes in at hooker for Cody Taylor. Ethan de Groot and Tyrell Lomax comes from the bench and starts. And at lock, it continues Scott Barrett as captain, Tupa Bai on that right-hand side. And Simon Parker gets another test match on the blind side. Ari Sabia at 7 and Wallace Atiti some important game time at number 8. Big change at halfback. He returns from injury. Noah Hotham with Bowden Barrett in the 10 jersey. Big opportunities once again for the midfield to build on this combination. Geordie Barrett, Billy Proctor. Leroy Carter gets his opportunity on the left wing on test debut in Wellington. Will Jordan stays on the right wing. Damien McKenzie at fullback. McAllister comes into the squad. Williams, Newell on the bench. Holland to Karifi. Christie moves to the bench. Quinn Tupaia and Ruben Love covering the back. Plenty to talk about in this team. Grant Nisbet in Wellington caught up with the assistant coach Scott Hansen earlier on.
Well, Scott, obviously a couple of enforced changes through injury, but you have made other changes. Can you run us through those?
One or two changes that we feel for this game will give us a point of difference in how we can approach the game. We've got Leroy Carter coming onto the wing, which we're excited about. He's going to give us a point of difference around being explosive there.
Carter puts the shoulder in, he's in for the try!
What Leroy does give us in the air, though, is an explosive jump. He's got very good leaping power, so going forward to the ball, he'll be fine in the air.
good handling from the Chiefs left winger.
Just talking that back three, was there a real temptation to keep Will Jordan at fullback?
Yeah, he's world class there, we believe. But what gives us also on the edge around the winger spot is good aerial compete, which is where we went to in the first test. We understand the DNA of South Africa and where they want to go around the year and they compete. And then Wall's ability also to adjust to our attack and create those layers.
Now Jordan injecting himself, Will Jordan!
We feel also having D-Mac there just gives us a different play around the opportunity to find different space through our legs.
Duplessis, Carabee scores!
Noah Hotham starting, was there a temptation to bring him through the bench rather than start?
Yeah, possibly. Even Red Dog did a great job for us up in Auckland. I think how we finish the game is just as important as how we start, so we've got the experience there. Noah for us is within the initial squad. We know that he'll give us a point of difference around our tackle also, and we just feel that may open our game up early.
That's brilliant!
A lot of expectation last week, huge build-up to the test at Eden Park. Has it been difficult to replicate that this week?
We actually looked at the performance, and there's a lot of areas we can be better and we'll need to be better, whether it be in the air or the breakdown, the set piece. There's going to be a hungry South African group in front of us, so we've acknowledged that. We've also talked about where we need to be also, and we'll have to raise our game.
Okay, so they've got to raise their game. Have they got the personnel to do it? Gus, I'll come to you first. What did you make? Your initial thoughts on that squad and the change, I guess, at halfback?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely got to shout out Finlay Christie for a player that wasn't initially in the squad. I thought he was one of our best against Argentina in that last test, and then his kicking game, I thought putting the ball on the money. So what Hansen talked about there is Hotham, what he brings with his attacking game and obviously being in the squad. Like you probably feel that Red was a little bit hard done by, but Hotham's been in there. I think he's earned that position, and his running game, we've seen what he's done with the Crusaders, just giving that front foot ball.
You can't call him Red, do you?
No, I'm not going to call him Red. No, I can't call him anything. I've got nothing to talk about in regards to here. But what I can say about this young man is the fact, I think this is more the blueprint how the All Blacks want to play in terms of their speed. They've talked about playing at tempo. Now, that's not probably the strength of Finlay Christie's game, but Scott Hansen talked about the fact he's shown his value, his true value. He is so good to have around the environment. You know you've got someone you can trust. So now the pressure's on the other halfbacks when they come back in to say, we can add that same sort of value. I like this selection. I think it gives a real balance in what we can do. If we need to finish a game, experience is critical.
Experience is critical, but then we've also got another debutant on the cards with Leroy Carter. Let's talk about him and what he brings to this side and what we need to see from him as we enter the second test.
I mean, every man and his dog has been asking for this guy to make his debut, and off what he's done it in the Seventh Circuit for the last few years, and what he did for the Chiefs this year, he's just a guy who goes out and gets it done. His will to fight, his explosiveness, like they talk about, his speed, his out-and-out speed, has been awesome for the Chiefs and set them up really well. So I think for him to finally get this call, they talk about an explosive leap, Jeff, you know, we've been struggling with our high ball, but I just love the heart that he shows. Everything he does it at 100%. He gives everything a crack, and it's earned him the shot.
They're looking for an answer in terms of controlling the air. Scott Hansen mentioned three things: the air, the breakdown and set piece. So when you talk about the air, that's exactly what Leroy Carter has been very good at, has worked at. He's had to find his feet over the last 12 months in the 15s game. He looks fantastic. It's exciting. I think they're looking for players to have an impact on the game. He'll get his hands on the ball and get involved.
It's very exciting for him and his family. So sending all the love to them, because they'll be a bit nervous, I imagine, right now as they get ready for that. Let's talk about the South African team. Let's talk us through it, Jeff.
And so many.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater, why don't you?
Yeah, well, they've reacted, and they've reacted strongly. Here's the changes they have made. I've got Inche, Marks and Totoy up front once again. Lutiaga comes off the bench. No room for Eben Etzebeth. So it's Lutiaga and Ruan Nokia in the middle row. Sia Khaleesi, after being at number 8, goes back into the 6 jersey with Peter Steph Totoy at 7. And Jasper Visa, he comes back in at number 8 after spending a month out through suspension. Cobus Reinach, well, he and Sasha Feinberg-Mamazulu come off the bench to start. And a new midfield combination in Damian Willemse and Kane Moody. And that is significant in terms of security defensively. Ethan Hooker comes off the bench, getting an all-important start on the wing. Cheslin Colby and Afaleli Fassi in at fullback for Willie LaRue. Van der Merwe, Hendrik Wessels, Lowe, Snyman, Smith, plenty of impact there. Williams, Lebok and Andre Esterhuizen, who, funnily enough, can play not only in the midfield, but as a loose forward as well. So it does give them a little bit of that 6-2 split.
All right, we're going to cross now to Wellington, our mates from Supersport. We've got Matt Pearce and Shimmy joining us. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We've pulled you away from the bar. Talk us through your initial thoughts on this South African squad. That's a lot of changes.
It is a lot of changes, Laura, but not entirely unexpected. I know a lot of people are surprised here. There's players in the squad who are tried and tested against the All Blacks in New Zealand, and this is an opportunity for some of the next generation to get an opportunity to play. Damian Willemse starting a test match at 12 for the first time, having started at 10 and 15 in test matches past, but a double World Cup winner. Canan Moodie played 13 against the All Blacks at Twickenham in 2023. Ethan Hooker, very exciting prospect on the wing. And yeah, this is a backline built for speed, certainly, and skill, but off the base of a very effective forward pack, Shimmy.
Yeah, look, it's not the first time we've changed this team. A lot of people were surprised last year when Sasha got a run against the All Blacks, I think in Cape Town or Ellis Park. So I think the players are used to it, the changes. It doesn't really hurt the cohesion, but I think if you go back to last week, I think the issue is going to be the converting that pressure into points. I mean, 12 or 13 22-meter entries. You convert a couple of those, then it's a different looking game, you know. I do understand that, but the changes are something as us as South Africans, we understand that. Rassie backs the talent. I don't think there's a young side or an old side. It's a Springbok team that's there to do a job, and it's never easy in New Zealand, and it's not going to be easy this weekend.
Matt, I have to ask you, are you hoping that what we see are fine conditions so this talented backline can show us what they can do in terms of ball in hand? Have you seen the development, the chemistry in this group to know the fact that they can play maybe from a little bit deeper in the field?
Yeah, they certainly can, but what this whole Springbok generation is trying to do, Jeff, as we discussed last week, is to have options in the way that they play, and therefore be a little bit more unpredictable. So you can't have a team that only just gives the ball a lot of air. They've got to be able to manage the game in the right areas of the field. But certainly this is a backline that has the potential to go wide quickly, but also to be able to tighten it up when the situation demands it. So yes, we'd like to see some favourable conditions. I know it's impossible to predict the weather in Wellington. We've known that as long as we've been coming to Wellington, but dare I say it, I said it on the breakdown on Sunday, you know, a lot of the squad have very good memories of Wellington. We were here in 2018 and 2019 and got some good results.
Let's talk about Sia Kolisi. He's moved to 6. He's back as captain now. What kind of impact will he have, and how quickly can he have an impact in that leadership role in such an important game?
Yeah, look, he's the glue in the team. I think Jasper Wiese is the guy we should be looking at, because that frees up Sia to go in the wide channels. So if Jasper Wiese makes good meters, you get good quick ball, then, you know, the edge forwards can do their work out there. So it's nice for him. Look, he's obviously struggled with 1 or 2 injuries. He wasn't in the team last week, then in the team, but he's getting his minutes, he's getting his rhythm. But in terms of the cohesiveness, it's just a familiar look to have him as the leader of the South African team. And he'll be exciting, especially if the conditions do allow it. But I don't think it's a team. People look at the backline selection, I think, you know, it's a multi-purpose team. You know, the reality is it's test match rugby. The best team is the one that handles the pressure, the pressure moments the best. And we've got a team where they need to run it, chase a game. You need to kick the hell out of the ball to get the result. It's a team that can do all of that with a pretty good pack also.
Well, I mean, speaking of the pack, we're about to break down a bit of the set piece, but 4 steals from the All Blacks on the weekend. Etzebeth stepping away for a bit of rest. How are these locks, this lock pairing coming through? And obviously with Schneiman coming back onto the bench, well, what do they need to attack this week?
Look, obviously the line out, but that's more of a collective thing. I thought the scrum went pretty well. The refs also got to let us to complete scrums. You know, I thought there was 1 or 2 collapses where, you know, it was play when the ball was at the back. But I think the line out, you know, it's either the call or the throw or the option taking. You know, there's a bit of a mixture there. So that's an area where the South Africans take a lot of pride and they'll want to fix that. And then the general play. Generally, if your ball carrier gets over the line and the urgency of your carriers are there, then you're good, you know. So it's a collection of things. But I think the compounding errors is what hurt the Springboks. If they can get, you know, moments where they get positive off the positive off the positive, they'll get the right result after that.
Matt, just have to ask you, do you know who the referee is for this weekend?
I do, yes. Do you, Jeff?
Yeah, I do, Nika Amashkili. Are you looking forward to Nika taking the reins, taking the whistle? What type of game are you expecting from him?
Well, Shimmy and I would rather talk to Gus about the scrum, if that's okay, Jeff. Can we do that now? Have you got some footage of the scrum from last week that you can show us?
We could go and look at some of the line-out misses and the knock-ons and everything that... what I'm hoping for is we get a game where we can focus on what's been important in this, because this great rivalry, it just continues. Wellington's going to deliver once again. How excited are you guys for this Test match in particular?
No, we're tremendously excited. We were excited coming over and taking on the record last week. But as I said earlier at a function here in Wellington, last week New Zealand were the world's #1 ranked side, playing at a stadium they hadn't lost at in 31 years. Obviously, we were the underdogs, and it was a 7-point game. But if you look back, a lot was made going into last week's Test match. I heard Laura saying, there was a lot of nervous energy, and we sensed that as well. But it was a quality team that went out and won the Test match. And if you look at the fact that the Springboks were 4 in a row against the All Blacks going into that Test, but you look at how close most of those games were, certainly the last 3, and another 7-point game last weekend. Obviously, this one's going to be tight. We're looking forward to it. And hopefully, for our sake, of course, we keep the hopes of the Rugby Championship defence alive.
And we hope the complete opposite. Matt and Shimmy, thank you so much for your time. We love you guys. You're fabulous. You can go to the bar now. Enjoy your evening, and we look forward to catching up with you in Wellington.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Poor old Shimmy on his crutches there. That's a bit of a worry. Right, we were talking a little bit about set pieces. Let's have a look at the line-out. The All Blacks is something they've been working on. What's their philosophy when it comes to line-outs?
Post-Rugby World Cup, there was obviously a lot of talk around Sam Whitelock and Brody Vitalik leaving a big gap in our locking department, and I kind of just used that as fuel and took the summer to actually work hard and actually nail down on my game and obviously try to get fitter as well. And that was probably a key part to me playing well, was probably just getting fitter. And then obviously trying to prove people wrong, I guess.
I think with the lineup, it's evolved a lot. It's becoming more of a weapon that people use to put pressure or relieve pressure. For example, for us, we use lineouts sometimes to get a penalty.
They've got an offside advantage. Oh, and a card too.
I think for me, going into a lineout, we're quite often as the props used as the lifters or our nails to add good punch.
Their line-out work, the All Blacks, has been very, very good.
It's not used as just a starter for play anymore. We're kind of using it as a platform for our backs to express themselves and give them really good ball.
Over the back it goes, back went up, there it is, Satiti. Now Jordan injecting himself, Will Jordan! Second try for the All Blacks!
We're pretty tough on ourselves to make every rep count. You start the week learning, and then as you go on during the week, you slowly find your timing, similar to drummers, because you don't know when's the most important line-out. So
This is it. The line-out has to be right, and then we just go toe-to-toe. Let's go.
South Africa, 90 seconds to play. It's one in the centre by Luke De Jager. Desperate defence by the All Blacks. In his 100th, how many times in his 100 Test matches has Ardie Savia done that?
Yes, cometh the hour, cometh the man. That was a great moment for Ardie Savia in his 100th Test for the All Blacks. Those lineouts, though, they really did become a talking point post-match. And even during it, I heard people go, geez, the lineouts. What did you make of it, Angus Val? You're an expert in this area.
Well, I mean, hearing what Tupou Vai's talking about and the expectation he's had on him, and I mean, what a great season, what a great game he had on Saturday night. But it's just so important. It's not what you see is what you get. It's the preparation. It starts early in the week on the Monday. You go through your clarity. You're looking at who you're playing, what potential outcomes you can get, and it's a plan that you come up with. And sometimes the plan works. Sometimes it doesn't. On Saturday, I thought they executed that plan flawlessly. In terms of, I'd say a call would be made, and then it's back in that call. You could see on a couple of those form ends, a lot of movement from the South Africans, but Tupou just staying there, backing the drill. And Fletcher Newell, got a shout out to my prop mate. The lift is just as important. So the big boys out there, I think they were just so in sync, both sides of the ball, and creating opportunities against a Springbok side who backed their set piece.
To become a line-out technician and to be able to call the line-outs is not easy at the highest level. Tupou Vaa'i has done that through the Chiefs. You've seen his progressions there, and all of a sudden we're seeing the best of Scott Barrett, who's making a couple of steals as well. So I think the tandem between the two of them and the fact that maybe this experiment of Tupou being at 6 is done, and now he's going to now own his space at lock. He was so good on the weekend. All the other stuff he can still do in the game, but if he can master that and control the line-out space, it goes a long way to winning Test matches, particularly against the Springboks.
And contrary to what Kevin Peterson, former cricketer, thought about Tupou Vaa'i's celebrations when we won, just shows how much it means to him, and I kind of loved it. But let's talk about, on the flip side, the scrum. Were we satisfied? What have we helped South Africa become more confident in this area?
Yeah, I feel like it was a bit of a licorice all sorts, sort of a mixed bag. And set piece, like we've talked about so much with South African teams, this is what they live and die off. This is their bread and butter, and I'm not worried about it. Would I say that they're satisfied with that performance? Definitely not, especially this last one here on your own ball, which Samisoni talked about alleviating, creating pressure off lineouts. Scrum is just as important in terms of a weapon. And mentally, as a prop, if you're having a bad day at scrum time, which is your core role, it can easily flow into other parts of the field. And I've heard Jace Ryan already address these. I think it's a never again moment. And I think the quality in that forward pack and the coaching staff and everyone around them, I don't think there'd be that sort of level again. I know they'll be back working hard, and the scrum that they've created over the last few years has been one of the best in the world. So no panic stations, but I think there'll be some hard conversations and some tough reviews going on.
All right, so we talked a lot last week about Eden Park and what it meant, defending the fortress. What happens in Wellington? Let's have a look.
Great tradition in this clash. All Black Springboks resumes tonight here at the Westpac Trust Stadium in Wellington. It's good hands. Cullen to Howlett. Howlett still upright. Marshall is in. Marshall. And through goes Robertson. And that is a well-deserved try for Scott Robertson. And backed up last week's effort with a big win here tonight again in Wellington. The Springboks have not won here at the Westpac Stadium. In fact, it's another ground where the All Blacks have established an excellent record. Snapped up by Wembu on the charge. Beautiful pass. Monty Aina can do it himself. Well. Now Cohen again. Dag. Beautiful run, Israel Dag. Still going. Israel Dag. Oh, what a try. Another convincing victory for the All Blacks. Rassie Erasmus, new Springbok coach. His first shot at the All Blacks. Intercept. Cheslin Colby comes on as a replacement and scores.
Oh, he snaffles one.
Oh, the ball's been knocked down. The Springboks are going to survive this, and they have scored a famous victory. As always, plenty of passion, maybe extra passion against the Springboks. Here's a chance for Colby. Hasn't had many in the game so far. Smith goes back, loose ball. Try scored. Drama at the stadium in Wellington. The 4th ever draw between the All Blacks and the Springboks.
Talk about a licorice all sorts, and the results there at the Gateton. It will be interesting this weekend. So here is the Rugby Championship standings. The All Blacks on top. There are 3 trophies up for grabs over the next couple of weeks for the All Blacks. The Freedom Cup, the Bledisloe Cup, and of course the Rugby Championship. If you look, here come the Wallabies, can I just add. But Jeff Wilson, how do you feel about this weekend?
The reality for me is if we win those 3 trophies you're talking about, we prove we've been the #1 team in the world. The fact that what we've done is we've beat Ireland the last 2 times that we've played them. We've beat France 3 times this year. They chose not to bring their strongest team, and then you put the Springboks to bed and we get over the top of Australia. Bottom line, we'll be the #1 team in the world. Proven. All
right, proven #1 team in the world. Can we do it?
100%. I'm with Goldie. We're going to do it. We're going to prove to everyone.
Okay, we're going to. He said the way.
Did I say that? Did I say that?
Is that
Did I say we were going to do it? I said we've got the opportunity to do it. I said we've got the opportunity to do it.
I'm putting words in his mouth now.
I actually do think we will do it. I think we'll win this Test match on Saturday in Wellington, and I think we'll win it well. I've got a feeling this group are going to take their game forward. It'll be good enough to beat the Springboks.
All right, you heard it here. Good enough to beat the Springboks. 3 trophies on the line. Don't forget 5:30 Sky Sport 1 on Saturday. All the coverage, everything you need to know about the second Test match, the greatest rivalry, the All Blacks taking on the Springboks. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you on Saturday.